So if you're thinking about doing a podcast, I highly suggest you use Anchor, and here's why. Now, first things first, it's free, and you can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. I'm talking dollar bills, y'all. Plus, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you to the major platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a bunch of others, so that's one less thing you got to worry about. And they got all the tools you need to record and edit your podcast in one spot, and you can do all that from your phone or your computer, so in my opinion, it's really the easiest way to make a podcast. Now, if that's what you're looking for and you're ready to jump on it, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What up, though? Welcome to Tamara to the Break of Dawn, the show where you'll literally ride my train of thought as I discuss the different types of challenges and struggles that we all can relate to. I'm your host, Tamara Dawn, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. Now, you already know the struggle could be way too real sometimes, so my hope is that these shows will challenge and inspire you as I basically share the areas that I'm trying to grow in. So let's get it. Alright, so riddle me this. Fellas. You know what? Y'all, because it could be ladies that do this too, and I don't want it to seem like I'm just trying to come for y'all, but I only said fellas because it's the only way that it comes at me like this is from fellas. But whatever. People. Okay, so this is how my life goes. My life goes that if any dude, man, sir, gentleman, whatever word you want to use, if anybody randomly messages me on social media, it's never good. And the reason why it's never good is because it always goes from like, hi, how you doing, to I want to be your man, marriage, all this like extreme stuff very quickly for someone who I don't know. And the thing about me is I wouldn't care if I had known you 20 years and then, you know, you were like my friend and you fell in love with me and you wanted to be with me. I would still ask you why, just because that's how I am. And if that's not something that you can handle, then you probably can't handle being with me, because I question everything. Because it's just, I mean, even, you know, I've said previously, you know, my relationship with the Lord is important to me. I question that, like, okay, Lord, do I really love you because what you do or because who you are? Like, I question myself about my own motives. Do I like this person because this, or do I just like them because what they're doing for me? Or do I really love my kids? Or, I mean, okay, maybe I don't say that, but that, you know, you get my point. I question myself. So if I'm gonna question myself, and you somebody trying to come like, oh, I want to be with you, and we've known each other for a half an hour, then, you know, I'm going to have some questions, because I need to know what you're basing this on. Because if it's just you're lonely or whatever, I'm sorry, I'm not jumping into no relationship because of that. That's probably why I've stayed single. So, here's the thing. Okay, actually, there's so many reasons, but whatever. So, some random dude messaged me, and, you know, because I host this podcast, and, you know, I made myself as a public figure on Instagram way before the podcast started. I don't even know why, but kind of I knew I was going to do something. My thought was more this blog that I've been kind of working on, but I knew I was going to do something, and I just, for whatever reason, wanted to be a public figure. So somebody DM'd me on Instagram, and I always try to be polite, you know, because if somebody's attracted to you or somebody's drawn to you, there's no fault in that in and of itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are going to be drawn to different things. They may think you're attractive. They might like the content you post or whatever. If you listen to my blog, you might like the way I think or the way I view life or whatever. So, like, I get that. So I really try to be polite because, especially for people who support and listen, I mean, not the blog, the podcast, got blog on the brain, but especially the people who support the podcast, like, if there was no y'all, I probably wouldn't, like, if I looked at my analytics and nobody listened, I probably wouldn't keep doing this, because I would think, like, okay, maybe this ain't the move for you, and that's fine. So it's like, I genuinely, anyone who ever, like, gives me any type of love, encouragement, support, even just says, oh, I listen, like, that means so much to me just from a creator standpoint, because no creative person wants to create content that doesn't reach somebody, you know what I mean? So those of y'all that, like, really rock with me, let me just kind of sidebar, I really genuinely appreciate y'all. And coming up, starting next season, because every season's gonna have 20 episodes, there's not gonna be a break, but it's just gonna be the way I record. It's a me thing. Y'all ain't gonna, be affected by it. But next season, I want to start doing some stuff where, Q&A, or have y'all, like, be part of the show. I'm trying to figure out what that still looks like. But anywho, that was just a whole sidebar. So this dude messaged me on Instagram. Let's get back on topic. And like I said, I try to be polite. So I'm going to read you how the conversation went. He was like, how are you doing? And I'm like, hello, I'm good. How are you? Because you know what? One time, but it was a lady. But this lady messaged me because, like I said, my page is public and it always has been. I don't post anything on the internet that I don't want other people to know. I just don't post it. I don't believe anything is truly private. I believe that there are ways around it. So because of that, my stuff is always public. And one time this lady did respond to a story that I posted. This was before I started the podcast. And she kind of just asked what I meant by it because she felt like she could relate to it. And then we talked about that, and then we moved on with life. So it's, so I try to be polite because you don't want to assume that people are coming, whatever. I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt and, like, believe the best about people, okay? So, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good. How are you? He's like, I'm fine, too. How was your night? And he said his name. So the whole how was your night, it was, like, the morning. I was just kind of like, that, I don't know. I wasn't even feeling that at first, but, because we don't know each other, but I'm just like, okay, just be polite. And I was like, pretty routine, prepared for my work week. And then he said, it's nice meeting you. Are you married? So that was kind of an indicator, but like I said, I always try to be respectful to people and not just be a bee, So I was just like, no, where are you from? I said, not to be rude, but I don't know you, and I'm not comfortable sharing that with you. He said, that's true. One message, I understand. The next message then said, I'm a good person. I'm not here to hurt anyone. Pause. Bruh. This is what this whole thing is about to be about, because that right there thoroughly irritated me. I just feel like if I tell you and I establish a boundary and I was not rude, I didn't, like, come at you sideways or whatever. If I, like, first of all, why would I want to tell you where I live anyway? I have kids, and even if I didn't have kids, man, it's serial killers out here and, like, crazy people who be trying to tell you I'm a good person, I'm not trying to hurt anyone. Like, that's something a serial killer would say, sir. So why would I tell you where I live? I don't know you. You might not even be a real account. You might not even be the picture that you putting out there on the internet. Like, I don't know you. See, that's why I couldn't do online dating, because I don't know if I've watched too many, like, unsolved mysteries or whatever, but I just really be having, like, crazy thoughts when it comes to, like, strangers and just scenarios or whatever. So it's like, no, we're not about to have this old deep exchange via the internet and I don't know you. Not saying it's wrong for everybody else, that's just me. But I also, though, try to be polite just because, hell, this man could have been about to ask for, like, encouragement or something, or he could have saw something I posted and it really spoke to him. So it's kind of like, when you put yourself out there as a public figure or whatever, I don't know, I just feel like a huge responsibility comes with that. So, you know, but at the same time, if I tell you I don't want to tell you where I live, like, what does I'm a good person, I'm not trying to hurt anyone, why are you trying to convince me to disclose information to you that I already said that I didn't want to do? Why are you trying to cross a boundary that, like, I established? And I said it kindly, not to be rude, because I don't want you to take it rudely, even though, why are you asking me that? But then again, I get it, because it is the day and age where some people do online date. And I remember even, like, way back in the day before Facebook and all that, and that whole ASL, like, age, sex, location, back in the chat rooms or whatever. Some of y'all don't even know what I'm talking about because y'all young, but I know what it is, and some of y'all know what it is. But yeah, so it's kind of like, I get it, but no. So then from there, I was just like, I didn't say you were, and I just kind of made my responses very just short after that, because another thing that I do is even if I kind of have a sense of where you're going, like, as soon as he came with the "are you married," I already knew, okay, you're gonna come with, because it's not like I just know everything, but that is the only type of way that anyone ever is in my DMs that I don't know. No one ever comes any other kind of way. So if ever anyone comes if ever anyone comes a different way, then I will, have different thoughts or whatever. But this is the way it always goes. So I should have known then, but I just like to ask questions so that people can see how they sound, or make them actually, like, think about what they're saying and kind of discover on their own how foolish they are, rather than just be like, bruh, like, what are you on? So then he's like, I said, I didn't say you were. He said, yeah. He said, I just want to be a friend or more. So I said, no, let's pause. Let's pause here for a second. Sir, first of all, I don't even throw the label friend around loosely. Like, I just don't. We could be cool. I don't throw the term best friend around loosely. I don't throw I love you around loosely. Like, if I tell you I love you, I really genuinely do. Now, I love people as a whole, but I'm just saying, like, if I say you're my friend, if I say you're important to me, if I say you're my favorite, I don't just be saying stuff like that, because I know words hold weight, and what we say holds value, and it can influence how somebody feels or whatever. So it's like, I don't even know you. I don't know anything about you except you asked me where I live and you're a stranger and you think I want to be, not only do you think I want to just be your friend, like, what are we in kindergarten? Oh, you want to be friends? No, it doesn't work like that as an adult. But not only did you think that I wanted to be your friend immediately, or more. So, me being me, because this is who I am as a person, and like I said, I could be, man, I remember I seen a meme once that was like, I can't even remember what the meme said, so I'm going to just tell you the type of person I am. I could be engaged to somebody who has expressed their love deeply to me. I could be married to someone for 50 years who has been good to me and whatever, and that would be so dope if that actually happened. And I would be like, are you sure you still want to be with me? Are you sure you're not going to get tired of me? Not from I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to ask them questions, like, period. And he's just going to have to be patient, because I just ask questions. Like, that's just who I am as a person. So, of course, I said, why or more? Put the or more in quotes. You don't know me. Why do you even want to be my friend? You seem interesting. How so? Or he said, you seem interesting. I said, how so? We haven't really talked about anything because how am I interesting? This whole time, all I've been doing is just, like, blocking and trying to figure out, like, what the heck you want. And he's like, yeah, I just like the way you address and keep your moral. And I was just like, okay, well, to be honest, I'm not interested in you. I just thought I'd put that out there. I don't know you, and you already, like, expressed where you want to go, and I don't even know if I want to be your friend, let alone just say I want to be or more. And then I blocked him just because it's been my experience that it goes from there to then I kind of get like disrespected. Like, I remember one time was like, somebody was like, oh, what the F, you think I'm effing playing with you, B? And I'm like, whoa, why the hell would I want to marry you? And you just went from, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so this, you're so that, to F-U-B because I said I don't want to marry. And I'm telling you, like, the people who know me know, because I tell my friends when this happens and I send screenshots and some more stuff. Like, I'm not even playing, and it just literally does not make sense to me for somebody to go from, hey, I just met you, this ain't no, call me maybe, but marry me maybe, like, this ain't that, like, no. And maybe there are females out there who are like that, and maybe there are dudes out there who are like that, because I don't know if ladies do stuff like this. Like I said, I don't got no homeboys that ever complained about this type of stuff, but I do have female friends that have told me that. Now let's back up to the two things that I won't even say two. Let's back up to the thing that really irritated me, and it happens in so many different ways, where I said I don't want to tell you where I live because I'm not comfortable, because I don't know you. You are a stranger. Yeah, that's true. I understand. If you understand, then there should be no, then you trying to convince me I'm a good person. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. And I just feel like sometimes it's people's own insecurities that feel, or that make them feel like they gotta almost try to, it almost feels manipulative, if I'm honest. Like, that's how that really feels to me, when people try to force me to do something that I don't want to do, especially if I was actually kind enough or whatever to explain why. Because the truth of the matter is, I don't owe anybody so this like makes me mad for real. And when I get mad for real, I start messing up on my words and all this stuff. Let me calm down. I don't owe anyone any explanations. That's not my mama, and sometimes I don't even explain stuff to her. My kids. That's it. My kids. Really just my kids. Because they are my responsibility. So I explain things to them like, oh, we might move, or I'm thinking about doing this. Like, when I got my second job, I told them, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing, and why. Why? Because my kids are used to me being more present than I have been working a second job. And so I needed to let them know what was going on and why, like how it, how it benefits them or whatever. So it's kind of like, if you ain't them, I don't really owe you no explanation. And I do choose a lot of times to explain things to people just so they can understand where I'm coming from. So if I gave you that, sir, then you just take that L. I'm not anyone who feels like I'm just that chick. Like, it blows my mind that y'all sit here and listen to me every week, because I'm just like, I really just be talking about what I'm going through. And That blows my mind. So I am not anybody that's like, yeah, I'm that chick. I want all these people to be whatever. That is not me at all. I don't need that validation either. I don't need unwanted attention. You know, that's just not how I am. If I'm interested in somebody, that's different. But if I'm not interested in you, then you're like nowhere on my radar, and I'm just no. And for me to be interested in you, it's not gonna happen at first inbox or first sight or first anything, just because of how I'm wired. Like, no. And because I half the time question, like I said, I question myself. So if there's not something real there for me to ground me, I guess, then my mind is going to go all over the place, and I'll talk myself out of it. And that's just how I know how I am. So it's kind of like, take that L, respect that boundary. And then it just kills me, though, the people who turn up on me and go from I'll give you the sun, the moon, and the stars to you ain't spit. You know what I mean? What is wrong with y'all? And that's why I say fellas, because I don't know, maybe ladies do that too. So what, we can't take, there's been times when, man, listen, there's been times when I've been interested in people and they didn't feel the same way, and it's like, yeah, it's a ego crusher or whatever for a second, but you get over it, because I would much rather you tell me the truth and tell me, no, I'm not interested in you, and that's why I am that way, where I think keeping it real is important, kind of like I talked about last episode. It is very important to be honest. I'm not going to give you a false sense of hope, because that's mean, and that's toying with people's feelings. And then it's like you continue the cycle of brokenness and hurt people out here, and I'm not trying to do that. But I just feel like when I am honest with you, and when I establish my boundary, because I don't have to accept any advances, or I don't have to accept anything, or I really don't even have to be nice to people, but I choose to be, because I just think, be mean for what? Why be rude to people? You don't know what people are walking through. Somebody could be on the edge of killing, about to commit suicide, and your trashy attitude or how you treat them just pushes them over the edge. And I don't want that to be me. I would rather be the opposite, where maybe you were on the edge and then we had a good conversation, or I was kind, or I said have a nice day, or smiled, or whatever, and that lets you know that there was still love in the world, because this world is crazy. So it's kind of though at the same time, just take that L. It's not that serious, you know what I mean? And I just feel like I hear so many times, and I see so many times where somebody, and it's always females that I see post this, will be some dude tried to talk to them and they turn them down for whatever reason. Really, she don't need a reason. She don't want you. That's all that matters. That's all you need to know. Let me calm down, because I started off saying I'm not trying to come for y'all, and I'm not really, but it's just when people don't respect boundaries, that just, man, it irks my soul. But she don't have to give you a reason why. But if she told you she's not interested, oh, now all of a sudden she this ugly bee, and she this, that, and the other because she turned you down. Was she that when you approached her, though? Huh, sir? Was she? No, she wasn't. So just take that L. And there's somebody for you who just how you are, and let's just switch to that lane. There is somebody, I'm not even just saying relationships, I'm just saying or intimate relationships. I mean friends. It is a beautiful thing when you have a friend even, or, you know, I can't say I know about having a relationship like this, so I'll just stick with friends, because I'm single. So it is a beautiful thing when you have someone in your life or people in your life who just appreciate you for who you are, who just let you be, let you do you, and take all that comes a part of who you are, and they're just like, wow, thanks for being you, or you're dope, or you're whatever. That feels amazing, and I do have friends like that. So that's, I could speak that, like, the friends that I have who, it's not even so much about they agree with everything I say or whatever. It's just, they just let me be me. Whatever wild and crazy and irrational stuff I say sometimes, they just laugh because they know at the end of the day, like, they know me and they know how I am. And I'm not saying disrespectful stuff to them, but I'm just saying, like, irrational stuff or just whatever. They just let me be, you know? And when I joke and I be petty and whatever, they just let me be. And I love my friends that are like that, because I do, you know, being put in a box of who I'm not and all this stuff, that, like, I don't like that. So I appreciate the people who appreciate me and how I am and what I have to offer to our friendship. So I'm saying, like, aspire to have that. Be thankful that she, or I guess we'll say he, in case, you know, ladies, you are out here like this. Be grateful that they were honest with you. Be grateful that they set you free from a false sense of hope and trying to hold on to something that you don't need to hold on to because it's not for you. Not everybody is going to be for you. Not everybody is going to rock with you, and that's okay. Because when you let go of that, you make room for, sometimes we don't get what we want, but when we get what we need, it's what we need, and it helps us grow, or it helps us become a better person, or it inspires us, or whatever it does for us. Like, that's what you need in your life. So take that L when the other situation happens. And I'm encouraging myself, or challenging myself, I should say, with this, because even just opportunities that maybe I've really wanted, I'll say, that it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, or whatever. You're not less than, I'm not less than, we're not less than just because someone else doesn't see our worth, or someone else doesn't, you know, admire us or treat us or see us or whatever the way we want to be viewed. That doesn't mean we're less than. That just means we're not for them. And we shouldn't want to have people in our lives who are not for us, because when you have people in your lives that are for you, it is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like you just see and experience, almost like, I feel like, for me, God's love through some of the, like, dope friendships that I have, that, because, you know, my family has gone through a lot. So, yeah. So that's my challenge. My encouragement is that, I mean, you're uniquely created for whatever purpose that only you can fill. You know what I mean? Like, you are a very dope individual. And I say that wholeheartedly to whoever is listening, because you are. You were created with a purpose. You're not here by accident. And, like, let that sink in if you struggle with self-worth. Let that sink in if you believe lies of whatever about yourself. And it is a continual battle, and it is a continual choice that you have to choose to not allow the negative thoughts to seep in and take root and grow into, like, foolishness in your mind. That is a choice, and sometimes it's hard, and sometimes, I mean, I also truly do believe that some people really do have chemical imbalances in their brain, and maybe they need to seek professional help and all that. So it's not always this cookie cutter approach. I don't claim to have all the answers. That's why I present different ways to do something, because at the end of the day, it's find out what works for you. I share what works for me. Maybe that already helps you, or it can be helpful, but find out what works for you. And remember that you are a super dope individual, and not just because you're listening to this podcast, which, as I said earlier, I genuinely appreciate each and every one of y'all, and anybody who's reached out to me and whatever. I appreciate that. It really means a lot to me, and I want to make sure y'all know that, you know what I mean? But you're dope just because you're you, and you are needed here on this earth. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So if you don't know what your purpose is, start focusing on that, because as you focus on kind of what makes you happy or what brings you joy or whatever, doing this, talking about this, the stuff I be talking about really by myself, I'm in the studio, but it brings me joy. It makes me happy doing this. You know what I mean? And if it is, if y'all, the fact that y'all enjoy it, that even means, that much more. So find what brings you joy, find what gives you a sense of purpose, and then what will happen is the right people. And sometimes, and you see a lot of people say this, everybody can't go where you're supposed to go. Sometimes you do gotta, not cut people off completely, but just kind of, not really be around them as much as you used to, or reshift your focus or whatever. Sometimes you gotta do that, and that can be lonely, because I've been there, so I know that is a lonely season. But man, having one solid person holds so much more weight than any 10 people that you'll let go. And I can also say that wholeheartedly, because some of the friends that I've reconnected with in the past, I don't know, however long, we'll just say somewhere in 2019, 2018, or whatever, man, those relationships have been life-giving to me. And then there are relationships that I don't really maybe talk to as much, and it's no love lost, no shade. I'm not mad at nobody. It's not nothing like that. I'm just a firm believer that some people are just there for certain seasons, and maybe they pop in and out, or maybe they were just a short season and then that's it. And you just got to recognize, the flow of life and, stuff like that. So take that L. That's my challenge, because you want the people around you who are supposed to be around you, who are going to cherish you for how dope you are. You are dope. Don't let anybody ever tell you differently, and don't ever think differently or feel differently just because somebody doesn't seem to, see your worth or whatever. And find purpose. You know what I mean? Because it just, when you do what you love, even though I still have a regular job too, but when you do what you love, you don't feel like you working. You know what I mean? So that's all I got for y'all. Until next time. You know, man.